Hello, welcome to Dungeon Drills podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today we're going to be playing Digimon World 3 while reviewing a Christmas film, Trouble in Paradise, which is directed and written by screenwriter George Gallo, who written Midnight Run, that Robert De Niro bounty hunter movie. And this film stars Nicolas Cage as Bill Furbo, Jon Lovitz as Dave Furbo, Dana Carvey as Alvin Furbo. They're brothers. You have John Ashton as Ed Dawson, Madchen Amick as Sarah Collins, who you'll recognize from Twin Peaks. She was like the waitress girl, who was married to that I forgot a lot of the... It's been so long since I've watched Twin Peaks. I forgot, like, pretty much all the characters' names. She was the one that was having an affair on her, trucker husband with Bobby, Sarah Palmer's boyfriend, right? You have Donald Moffat as Clifford Anderson, Richard Jenkins as Agent Pacer. And one of the deputies in this movie was like, I swear to God, he was like the asshole Texan guy from not Jack Frost, Ginger Dead Man, which I hated that movie. Who was that? Was that Paul Lazar? Let me double check. It looks like the same guy, but I could be wrong. No, I don't think it was, because I'm not seeing it in his credits. Then again, if I was in Ginger Dead Man, I wouldn't want that on my resume. No, I don't think it was him, because this guy's like cross-eyed. Okay, yeah. Never mind. So yeah, the movie Trapped in Paradise is a comedy crime movie. It's about basically in Philadelphia, well, New York, Philadelphia. New York, is Philadelphia in New York? I can't remember. Basically, you have Nicolas Cage, who's like the responsible brother of these three brothers who are both Jon Lovitz and like Dana Carvey are career criminals who get let out of jail, right, because of overcrowding, right, which happens a lot, and they're on parole, and like Nicolas Cage goes to pick them up, and like one of the brothers, Jon Lovitz, is a chronic liar / manipulator, and you have Dana Carvey, who constantly makes like weird like voices and not weird voices. He's using weird voice and like makes funny faces all the time, even though it doesn't really call for it in the scene. Right? He's like a kleptomaniac. He constantly steals shit. So what ends up happening is they go to visit their mother. Basically, what happens, I'm going to spoil the movie, because, basically, Jon Lovitz, emotionally manipulates Nicolas Cage into going to Paradise, which is this town in Pennsylvania, where there's, a girl there who's, the daughter of this mobster, right, who's played by, Madchen Amick, right, and she works at a bank, right? And there's a letter where basically, they're going to there to meet this girl, so to convince her to go and visit her dying father in jail, who's a mobster, right? A mobster, and what ends up happening? They end up what ends up happening is Nicolas Cage character gets wanted in New York, right? Because he stopped his brother Dana Carvey from stealing from a cash register, right? But but like tries to put the money back, but the cops get involved. He accidentally leaves his wallet there, which it turns out he didn't actually. Like his brother stole it, and his other brother lied about the whole thing. Which I kind of knew from the get-go that happened, but apparently that was a twist in the movie, right? Which I could tell right away that was bullshit, right? Yeah, so basically he gets like... Well, the part of the movie that I don't understand is that they go there and they rob the bank that the girl works at. And I'm kind of confused on why Nicolas Cage's character would just rob a bank because he thinks he's wanted in New York or whatever. That I kind of don't understand. So what happens? They rob the bank and they try to leave the town, but like I said, the movie's called Trapped in Paradise. So what ends up happening is they get their car crashes during a blizzard. All the roads are closed. And they end up staying. They get picked up by this guy who's on his way to his dad's house, and it turns they get picked up there and have dinner with the guy's family, and it turns out to be the people who own the bank, and the mobster daughter lives at the bank owner's like house, and like he tells a sad story how like basically he gives like a story like saying like, oh, because we got robbed, we're gonna have to close the bank down and the big city banks are gonna take over, right? So what happens? They get guilt tripped into like Nicolas Cage gets guilt tripped throughout the movie, right? Because he realized what great people the people of like Paradise are, and want to give the money back. While this is going on, it turns out there was a mob boss. There was a mob boss, right? Sorry, mobster. There was a mobster. The mobster character was real, right? From the letter, even though the letter was fake. Apparently, he was planning this heist in Paradise for years, but never got to do it because he was in jail at the time. And like Jon Lovitz and his brother Dana Carvey decide to pull it off, even though they know that that's another thing, right? Where like why. So, like, their letter was a mix of truth and, like, fiction, right? Why the fuck would they rob, if they were planning on, like, my point is, why the fuck would they rob, a bank that they know that this murderous mobster character was planning on robbing, right? So what ends up happening is he and his friend, Caesar, break out of jail, knows that it was the Furbo brothers that did, because they were recently released, and only they would be stupid enough to try to rip them off. So they kidnapped the Furbo brothers' mother, and Jon Lovitz's character calls home, knows that his mom was kidnapped and being held hostage by this mobster, but doesn't tell his other brothers that their mom was kidnapped, right, and held hostage. So it's like, what a fucking asshole. What a fucking asshole Jon Lovitz's character is. Yeah, so what ends up happening is, like, there's a great scene, where, like, oh, I forgot to mention, Richard Jenkins is in the movie, and he plays, like, this FBI guy who's in charge of the case. And also, there's these two deputies who run, like, a general store who sold like, the ski masks that the Furbo brothers were wearing during the heist. So they know it's them, and they decide, hey, we're going to, like, we're going to steal the money that the Furbo brothers took, right? So you also have that plot point going on. So the movie ends with all of our cast of characters meeting together and like having like there's like a standoff with the FBI, and the movie ends with what ends up happening is Nicolas Cage brings back the money that they stolen, and like the FBI arrests everybody, but because the money was returned, and like nobody will testify that it was them that did it, right? And they don't really have any hard evidence that the Furbo brothers stole the money. They decide Richard Jenkins is like, oh my god, fuck this. I'm gonna let you guys go, but you guys are getting the break of a lifetime. Don't fucking do this ever again. Alright, so what ends up happening is like Nicolas Cage gets the girl, and the other two brothers go back to Philadelphia or New York or whatever with their mother, right? So this movie I thought was was pretty decent, Christmas movie. There's a lot. Christmas crime movie, right? Because the movie takes place on Christmas Eve, right? So there's a lot of Christmas songs. The spirit, like the whole theme of Christmas is there, right? They even sing Christmas songs, right? I think there's like a Dean Martin Christmas song that plays or Frank Sinatra, whatever, right? That plays at the end of the movie, right? I thought the comedy in the movie was mostly decent, right? And there's like some heartfelt moments, right? Also, there's like a scene the sheriff has this like retarded son, and the retarded son has this horse that our characters steal, right? And there's a scene where they abandon the horse, right? And the horse, I guess they parked the horse and the cart, the sled by this frozen lake. So the horse starts to the sled falls into the lake, and there's a scene where they go back to rescue the horse, right? Which I thought was a touching scene, right? That was good. Also, there's a three-legged dog in the movie, and there's like a scene after like the whole hostage situation was resolved. They see the three-legged dog run by, and Richard Jenkins goes to his deputies. He's like, "Did we do that?" I thought that was funny. Obviously they didn't do it, but I thought that was funny. I don't know. Overall, I thought the movie was good. Nicolas Cage is way over the top in scenes, right? But plays it. He plays it close. He plays it good. During the scenes where he has to be mellow, he plays good. But the scenes where there are some scenes in the movie where he goes way over the top, like in the bank robbery scene. Right, he's way over the top in that scene, right? But he plays the movie fine, he doesn't he does go overboard some scenes, but he's fine in the movie. But if you're a fan of overacting Nicolas Cage, he does overact in the movie in some scenes, and it's I don't know, I personally love it when Nicolas Cage overacts and scream talks, screams like he does in the movie, right? He finds out that the Jon Lovitz knew that their mom was being held hostage and didn't do anything about it. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Oh man, that was funny. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed the movie, and I think if you're looking for a comedy a crime comedy / adventure film movie with Christmas elements, this is a great movie. I also like this there's a great scene where they're trying to buy bus tickets, but Nicolas Cage doesn't have enough money, but he goes to get the money out of the duffel bag, and like he can't get the money out of the duffel bag because there's state troopers around. So he guilt trips the 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 ticket, like, you know, the cashier the to give him the tickets, right? Which is like, what the fuck? That's just shameless. Like, Nicolas Cage kind of plays like an asshole, like a scumbag in this movie, but like he turns it around near the end, right? When which, you know, this movie, I feel like this movie kind of has a feel good like ending to the movie, and it has like a happy ending where, like, you know, everybody they learn their mistakes, and, like, you know, they vow to be better people, and Nicolas Cage gets the chick from like you know, Twin Peaks, even though she's like 20. He's like 20 years older than. Well, no, she would have been like 24 in this movie, right? Because she was like, wait, if she was like 17 in '89, and this takes place in like '94, yeah, she would have been like, I don't know, like 22, 23 in the movie. And Nicolas Cage is like, how old? In his late mid-30s in this movie, whatever, right? Whatever, it worked. It's fine. Yeah. So I enjoyed the movie. It kind of has like it has like kind of an average rating, but on IMDb. But I thought this movie was good, and I'm giving it, like, you know, a 6.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. So if you're a Tubi fan, you need to get on Tubi right away and get on their Leaving Soon page, because a lot of great movies on Tubi is like leaving, right? It's getting taken off the website, including Frozen, the 2010 horror thriller. So I kind of been wanting to watch that movie for a while now, but so I'm thinking of reviewing that for Christmas month. We did say we were going to review, like, you know, winter movies, so not just like Christmas movies. So we're going to review that. Also, I also saw a horror western movie called The Burrowers, which stars Clancy Brown, right? And it's pretty good. Came out 2004. It's about these guys who basically, there was a massacre. A bunch of families get massacred by monsters, but like they think it's Indians, right? So you have this posse go after trying to rescue these the people that have been kidnapped, right? Which, you know, one of them is like this Irish guy who's after the Indians, even though it's monsters, because, like, you know, his fiance was taken, right? And, like, you know, it turns out obviously it's monsters, and there's some really cool gore in the movie, pretty graphic gore. I'm not going to say who, but a character gets their face shot off, and it's pretty gory, right? And the monsters are CGI in some scenes, but there are some practical, they use some practical effects, right? So I think if you're a fan of Bone Tomahawk, the Burrowers is like, honestly, I think in some ways it's better than like Bone Tomahawk, because Bone Tomahawk had really like cheap looking sets, and like the cinematography wasn't great, and like the costumes were a bit, you know, didn't look lived in. And the Burrowers, you have beautiful cinematography. All the costumes look lived in. Everybody is like has like this layer of dirt, and they all have scars. Man, it's like a pretty cool movie. And you also have, like, you know, these like just like in westerns, you have these kind of moral gray characters, right? Especially like the two experienced guys in the party, right? And there is some like leftist woke shit in the movie, but the movie is like the movie's The Burrowers it's still good, right? Yeah. So I would recommend it. And it has, like, and if you're a fan of horror movies with a bleak ending, it has a pretty bleak ending at the end. And then it turns out the monsters are, like, also part, like, they kind of resemble they don't look like vampires, but they kind of have a lot of similarities to vampires, so it's like, what the fuck? So it's like, if you haven't seen the 2004's Burrowers, go on Tubi right now, because it's leaving Tubi soon, right? Yeah, so our next movie we're going to review, I know I said I was going to review, like, you know, a cartoon, but yeah, I want to review Frozen before it leaves. This is the horror thriller Frozen, not the animated movie, which we already reviewed. Yeah, so, like, yeah, I want to review that before it leaves. So, yeah, that's it for this review, guys. Peace. Like I said, make sure to go on Tubi before, like, all those great movies leave.